So we're going to warm up slightly different tonight. We're actually going to start in down dog position. This is so cool. So 2 feet together, and I want you to walk down towards the end of your mat into down dog. So we're all going to do the exact same thing. So walk down into down dog, so your hands are flat to the floor and you're lifting your butt up towards the ceiling and you're pressing your heels towards the ground, okay? So every time we sit here in down dog, you're going to pedal stretch. You're going to bend one knee and then the other, and you're going to do 4 of them just to open up those calves and ankles. And then from here, take forward your right foot outside of your right hand. One swift, graceful movement. Good. Sink those hips nice and low. Keep your balance as you twist that left hand towards the ceiling. Now see the way my arm, it's actually not going straight up the ceiling. You're actually rotating it as far back as you can. And then take that arm over your head into that stretch. Drop that hand onto the floor and then take the right hand up to the ceiling. So again, not just up to 12 o'clock, take it back as far as you can so you're rotating from your hips and your lower back. Drop the hands onto the floor, take that right foot, bring it back beside the left foot into down dog position, pedal stretch for 4, 3, 2, 1, come forward, take your left foot forward, so left foot forward. Good, now keep the balance and twist that right arm to the ceiling, hold that stretch. Take it over your head so you're stretching at your ribs and your shoulders, nice big opening. Drop down onto the right hand, take that left hand up and see how far back you can rotate that arm. Nice and gentle. Good. Drop the hand onto the floor, take the foot all the way back into our little down dog position, pedal stretch for 4, 3, 2, 1. Take the right leg forward one more time. This time, drop your left knee onto the ground, so your back knee onto the floor. Now, take your hands up towards the ceiling and keep pressing your hips forward into that stretch and just hold it there, sinking your pelvis towards that mat. Good, nice and slowly drop the hands down. Let's go into down dog, so lift the butts up to the ceiling, pedal stretch again. 4, 3, 2, 1, left leg comes forward. Now we can go between your hands. It can just be on the outside. It's completely up to yourself. Drop the right knee to the floor. Take those arms up. Ooh, cramping on my back foot. Keep pressing those hips forward as you hold that stretch for 4, 3, 2, 1 more time. Down dog, hands to the floor. Take that left leg back. Lift the hips and just pedal stretch. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now from here, walk your hands towards your feet. So you're going to walk your hands up towards your feet and then roll back up into standing. We'll do our hamstring stretch. So 2 feet together, hands onto your thighs, chin to your chest. Slide those hands down. Slow as you can, go all the way down towards that mat. Bending your right leg, focus on that left hamstring. Feel the pull up through that left hamstring. And then straighten that right leg, bend your left leg, hold it. Now, as you straighten out both legs, squeeze those thigh muscles, roll back up, draw your belly button in, roll back up, roll your shoulders back and down. Bring your heels together, toes out. Curl down again, so nice and slowly all the way down towards that mat, or as far as you can, okay? Bending the right leg, focus on that left hamstring. And again, straighten that right leg, bend your left leg. Feel the difference between both hamstring muscles. Now, as you straighten out those legs, pull your abdominals in, roll back up, shoulders back and down. Bring your toes in, heels out, curl down. So draw your belly button in, slide down nice and slowly into that stretch. And again, focus on bending the right leg and just stretching that left hamstring. And then straighten that right leg, bend your left leg, hold that stretch. Good. Now, as you straighten out both legs, roll that spine back up. And then sit down, get nice and comfortable. So down onto the floor, guys, and we're going to start with our Gurney ball. So a little inflated ball, or if you don't have the ball, get your little cushions and just wedge them in against your butt. So in against your tailbone, and just round your back in towards that cushion, towards that ball. Separate your feet so your feet are about hip distance apart. Good, everyone's getting nice and comfortable. Lovely. So draw the tummy muscles down away from your t-shirts. Lift the hands as high as you can so it changes the center of your gravity. Now, place your 2 hands together and we're going to twist from here. So with your hands high, you're working up here into the rectus abdominals. We're going to twist to that left-hand side as far as you can. Try to straighten both elbows out. You're just twisting across. Inhale, bring it to center. So we're just activating the TVA. Exhale, and as you twist, you're activating it into those internal obliques. Inhale to center. Exhale, just twist. And your back is resting on the cushions. So keep the elbows straight. Inhale. Exhale, twist. Turning your head to look through the tops of your fingers. Inhale. Last 4. Exhale to twist. Inhale to center. Exhale for 3. Feel those two muscles starting to kick in. Lift the arms higher if you want to make it harder. Last 2. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, twist through. Good, bring it back to center. Stay here resting on that ball. Separate your hands. Really actually just open those hands out. So make sure you have plenty of room. The minute you bring your hands out, it activates more on that TVA muscle. So we're just gonna inhale, open. Exhale, close those hands. Okay, palms together. Inhale, open. Hold in your stomach. Exhale, hands together. So your hands are parallel to the floor. Inhale, bring those arms back. Exhale, close. Good. Do 4. Inhale. And then exhale, squeeze those hands together for 3. Inhale. And exhale. It's hard to inhale and not push out your stomach. Last 2. Inhale. And then exhale. One more time. Inhale. Stomach is starting to warm up now. Exhale, hold it here, hold it. And just for funsies, let's do bounces. And this is great when you have the ball, you get to bounce quite nicely. But let's do 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Come forward, relax those 2 muscles, chuck the ball to the side, and just reach down along your ankles to stretch out those hamstrings. Just tuck your chin to your chest and just drop down as low as you can. Don't force the stretch here, okay? Now, keep your feet nice and wide, hip distance again. Keep the toes pointing down, and you're gonna roll down. So we're doing our full roll ups. Make sure there's nothing behind you. Roll off the back of the tailbone, so there's no cushion there. You're gonna come down as slow as you can. So your TVA muscle, your transverse abdominals is already warmed up, so you should feel it here. Inhale, hands to ceiling. Exhale to roll. Slow as you can. Slow, slow, slow. Now when you come forward, imagine there's a ball sitting on your lap. Round your vertebrae over the ball, round your spine, and reach towards your toes. Instead of hinging from the hips, I want you to just open up your spine. Okay, roll back again. Inhale, exhale. So think about pulling in here. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Keep that sensation of pulling in the whole way down. Don't hold your breath. Inhale, hands to ceiling. Exhale to roll. All the way up. If you hold your breath, you kind of switch off the pelvic floor muscles, okay? So we're going to do one more, and then we're going to do this with our pelvic floor every single time. So we'll make you think harder. So exhale all the way back down to the ground. Shoulder blades back. Inhale to the ceiling. Exhale to roll. Now, let's just reach forward again. Imagine you're leaning over that beach ball that's on your thighs. Hold that stretch. Stay here and see if you can pick up your pelvic floor muscles. So get that sensation of stopping yourself and peeing. Now, you're not clenching your butt. You're just getting those internal muscles just to wake up, just for a second, okay? Now, pull in your abdominals. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, roll down, and see if you can think about the sensation of your pelvic floor. You might not. Most people can't. They'll lose the sensation after 1 or 2 seconds. But let's try it again. Inhale, hands to ceiling. Try and engage the pelvic floor. Exhale, roll back up. So just at the start of the exercise, fire up the pelvic floor before we get started. Reach forward, inhale. Think about the pelvic floor. Exhale. So just do 2 like that, 2 more. Just think about recruiting the pelvic floor. You're gonna relax for a second, inhale. And as you exhale, grip the pelvic floor, chin to your chest, roll back up. And again, you might not get it every single time. Round your back instead of just hinging from those hips. Inhale. Last one, grip the pelvic floor and exhale, roll down. Nice and slowly. Good. All the way to the floor. Drop here, drop those heads, drop your hands, bring your heels to your butt. Sink the knees over, press your shoulders back into the floor. And just kind of think about pushing your pelvis forward and releasing across that lower back. And then slowly go all the way over. Sink the knees to the floor as you push those hips to the ground. Nice and gentle. And bring it back to center. So we're going to do our crisscross, and it's our normal crisscross, but we're not putting the hands behind the head on this one because I want you to think about reaching. Okay, so most people in crisscross think about pulling the knee to the elbow, where I want you to think about going past your knee on this one. So keep your feet on the floor, 2 hands together again in prayer. You're going to pull up the left knee. So you're going to curl up as high as you can. As you pull up the left knee, stop it in tabletop, because most people bring the elbow to the knee or the knee to elbow and they stop. So I want you to come up and see if you can get both elbows past past that knee. So reach up a little bit further and don't move that knee. Good. Bring it back to center. Drop the foot. Inhale. So lift the right knee to tabletop. Pause. And then try to get the rest of your body, your torso, to get up further than that knee. Inhale. Drop the head. Switch off your neck. Exhale. Twist. So you're lifting up as high as you can. Twisting and lifting, lifting, lift. Yes. Get that elbow past the knee. Inhale to center. Exhale, twist. Draw the tummy muscles in. Twist through. Now try and engage the pelvic floor. Think about it. Inhale, pelvic floor, exhale. Because you can do this action without having to think about it. It's the pelvic floor that you have to think about waking up. Inhale, try it again. Exhale, quick grip on the pelvic floor and then lift up. So your pelvic floor is like your hammock of muscle across the base of your pelvis, and it supports your internal organs. So waking it up as often as you can is just going to make it stronger. Let's do another 4, nice and gentle. Inhale. Exhale, just think about lifting, gripping the pelvic floor as often as you can. Heads on the ground. Inhale. Exhale for 3, trying to grip the pelvic floor as you exhale. Good. 2 more. Inhale. It's really hard to concentrate on gripping the pelvic floor, getting that sensation of stopping yourself from peeing. 1 more time. Inhale. Exhale. Twist and lift, gripping the pelvic floor if you can. If you see my face scrunch up, it's me. I'm trying to concentrate. Drop back to the floor. Take your hands behind your head, guys. Hands or heads press back into those hands. So switch off these neck muscles. Okay. Now lift your head, neck, and shoulders up and push your tailbone down into the floor and just feel it underneath your ribs. Okay. I want you to think about pulling your ribs in nice and tight here. So hold the stomach muscles nice and tight. Fingers lace behind your head, curl up as high as you can. Slowly pull your right leg to tabletop and left leg up. Now stay up, curl up a little bit higher. Hold that position and feel it, ribs going right down to pubic bone. That's where we're activating. Take your right foot or whichever foot you want and bring it towards the ground. So you're going to do a heel tap or a toe tap down to the floor, pull back up. Now keep that arch floating just a little bit. Exhale. When your leg goes down, do you drop your head a centimeter? Stay up here. Exhale. If you get tired, drop your heads, but keep them up because remember, it will be frowned upon. You do have the option. Just remember, I'll be taking mental notes, whoever drops those heads. Last 4. Feel underneath those ribs. For 3, lift those shoulders a little higher without crushing your lower back to the ground. Last 2. 1 more time, stomach is burning. Jennifer, mental note. Bring it back to center. Oh, my stomach, release. Bring your heels to your butt and sink the knees over. Press those shoulders back. Reach to your fingertips. Slowly do the same. To the other side, roll those knees all the way to the floor. Nice big stretch. Good. And then bring it back into center. So we're going to do our scissors. We're going to progress the scissors, but I like using the cushion for the scissors. Okay, and actually I'll turn this way so you can see it because this is great. I can actually get the angles right here. So take the cushion, not against your tailbone, but you're actually going to push it around the rib cage area, but everyone's going to be different. So you're going to have it, I'm going to have it just below kind of bra strap shoulder blade height. So when I take these legs up, when I take this leg up and this leg off the floor and I go to scissor swap, it doesn't feel like I'm falling forward the whole time. If that happens, I just move the ball up higher towards the shoulder blades, okay? So let's get everyone up in that position. Good. Now, you can keep this heel on the floor if you want, but if you want to progress a little bit tougher, take the heel off the ground. If this leg doesn't straighten, that's fine. Slightly bend the knee so it's more like a single leg stretch. But I want you to grab either the back of the hamstring or back of the calf muscle. Now, rest on the ball. Keep your chin down so your chin is parallel to the floor. You're going to pull that leg towards your face twice. You're going to go 1, 2, scissor swap, change. And this is where the position of the ball or the cushion makes a huge difference because there's no hanging from the neck muscles here. You just get to look down across the end of that mat. Nice and controlled. Let me see it now. That's it. So keep those ribs kind of resting on the ball and you're keeping those tummy muscles active the whole time. And if you can keep that heel off the floor, you're still working that core muscle, but you're getting a really good stretch of those hamstrings. Good. Do another 6. 5, sit. 4 more. Pull the belly button down away from the t-shirts for 3 more. Perfect, Angela. Last 2. Double pulse. Last 1. Now drop both heels down just for a second. Make sure you're rested on the ball again. It should be no hanging on your neck muscles. Chin should be parallel to the floor. Take your leg back up. Doesn't matter which leg it is, just take it up there and stretch out. Now, if you find your knee is bending at that angle there, grab lower on the hamstring. And well, actually, everyone's going to grab lower on the hamstring. So we're going to bend the knee and press the leg up. But I want everyone to think about locking that knee and curling your toes. So you're just stretching now, okay? So when you bend, pull your heel to your butt. So activate your hamstring here and then extend, squeeze that quad. Good, bend, pull in, straighten and flex the quads. Good, jeez, you nearly kicked yourself in the face there, Iris. I'm very impressed. Do 4, bend that knee, forward 3, exhale. Good. Last 2, and you're flexing up to the ceiling and you're flexing down to the butt. One more time. Straighten that leg up, hold it there, hold that stretch. Now again, just gripping the back of the hamstring. If you can slide your hand up, if your knee is straight, you can grab the calf muscle as long as you're not feeling too much of a burning sensation here. It's not like it's painful. So just breathe a few more seconds. Wiggle your toes in a circular action. And you're just sending signals to the fascia to soften here, back the knees, back the hamstrings, and right up here to the top of the hamstrings. For a lot of people develop high hamstring tendinopathy, so we're just trying to release it. Slowly lower the leg down. Now use your stomach muscles, lower that leg down. See if you can kick up the other leg. Kick it up, use those two muscles. Grab the back of the hamstring first. So we're gonna pull the heel to the butt to shorten the hamstring and flex. And then we're gonna flex in the opposite direction, straight up. Okay, so down, activate your hamstring. Up, activate your quads. So opposite muscle groups. So down and then up. Good. Down. 4 more. Press up and think about squeezing the kneecaps. Press that kneecap in for 3 and just lock the kneecaps. So you're activating the quads. Last 2. And keeping those 2 muscles pulled in the whole time. Last 1. We're going to hold it there for a second. Hold it. Just feel that stretch. If you're comfortable, yes, you can grab the calf muscles. If you feel any kind of tightness or too much tightness in the top of your hamstring, just drop it back down to the back of the hamstrings. Just draw circles with the feet. Draw big circles. Good. And if you feel like your neck is hanging too much, you have the ball too close to your butt, bring it up a little bit higher, or that cushion too close to your butt. Good. Do 4, 3, 2, 1, and then slowly drop that leg down. Take those cushions out, guys. And let's stretch out those lower backs. Bring your heels to your butt again. Sink the knees over. Press your shoulders back into the ground. Just release that lumbar spine. Slowly do the same to your other side. Roll the knees all the way over. And release. Nice little stretch out for that lower back. Good. So we're going to activate into those glute muscles. We're going to start with an internal rotation with the knees. So I want your feet out to the edge of your mat and roll those knees in. So you're hitting specific muscles in your butt here, okay? So knees towards each other. Now, if your knees or your hip are really tight, if your internals are really tight, you won't be able to get your knees to touch. But just imagine you've got like a block there in between your knees. Keep them as close as you can together. So we're doing our normal shoulder bridge. We're going to tuck the pelvis, roll those hips up nice and high, and your knees will naturally separate the higher you get. That's fine. Keep rolling those knees inwards and then articulate your spine back down 1 vertebrae at a time, okay? So I want to see you moving the pelvis as much as you can. So knees in, feet out, and roll the hips up. And you're still activating your glutes, so check your butt that you're fired up here, and then roll back down. So you're working different fibers on those glutes by just changing your foot position. So do another 3 like this, just firing up those glutes, squeeze, keep your knees rolled in, roll back down, ribs, lower back, tailbone, inhale, exhale, knees as close together as you can. So you're really trying to get this TFL muscle to open up. Roll back down. Actually, we'll do 2 more for good luck. Exhale, roll those hips up, squeezing the glutes, and think about rounding your back, especially on the way back down, folding in your abdominals. One more time, roll those pelvises up towards the ceiling, hold it up there nice and high. Now with your knees, roll your knees out so that your knees are over your ankles and your feet are nice and wide as that mat. Now keep your glutes fired up, so make sure your butts are nice and tight, and we're just going to roll down halfway. So you're going to do a pelvic tilt on the way down and then bridge back up, okay? So you fold your abdominals in half, halfway down, or straight back up. So you never switch off those glutes. Down and back up, and this is just changing the leg position again. We're doing half bridges. Do 4, driving those hips up so your butt never switches off for 3. The tuck is very important. Last 2. And on your last one, stay up there nice and high, hold that position. Now with your feet, walk your feet in so that the insides of your feet touch together, and just let your knees kind of go out to the side. So you're now into external rotation of those hips. Now we're gonna come down with our tucked pelvis. We're gonna go down and kiss the tailbone to the floor and then go straight back up so you're not resting at all. So curl back down, tip your back of your tailbone to the floor and go straight back up into bridge. Different activation on those glutes, different muscles being fired up. Do 4. Up, squeeze, come down, do not rest, do not switch off. For 3, exhale, come back down. The last 2, squeeze those butts, should be on fire. Last one, stay up here. So knees are out like a diamond shape and your feet are touching together. Hold it there, make sure your glutes are fired up. If you're not sure, let's do pulses, 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 and feel the butt clenching. It's as tight back there, it's like a broken credit card machine. Nothing can be swiped. Let's do 8 pulses, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and roll back down. Sweet Lord. Pull your knees in for a second and just soften those lower backs, soften out those little hips. We're going to stretch that little area now. So we'll do a quick little pigeon pose. So let's come up and over onto all 4s. And you're going to take your right leg forward. So this is a nice, easy version of pigeon pose. I'm going to use, no, I'm not using mirror image. I'm bringing my right leg forward, but I'm going to wiggle my right leg over to the left-hand side of the mat. So I'm going to confuse you all, so I'm going to do it this way. So I'm bringing my right leg over to the left-hand side of the mat. And if you sink down with your shin parallel to the top of your mat, that's tough. So pull that heel in a little bit and then just wiggle that back leg back. Now remember, if you can't do pigeon pose, you just roll onto your backs like this and you do your figure 4 and grab the back of that hamstring. Just a gentler version of that stretch. So the rest of you guys stay up onto your hands, hold this position. And if you get to a stage where you cannot really feel the stretch, don't force it and don't just go straight away lifting that heel up. Just bring it up an inch into that position and your hips are trying to be square to the front of your mat. Now we're going to wiggle. We're going to roll the hip down to the floor and then back into center. So right hip touches the ground and then back into center. It's a lovely one. It's a good rotation stretch for your hips, for all the fibers of your hip joint. Good. Now sit up square so your hips are square to the front of the mat, then come down at your elbows down to that mat. Love that my camera follows me. Hold that little stretch and wiggle your hips if possible from side to side to get a little bit more rotation to that hip and hopefully take the pressure off your sacrum, off that low back and off your sciatic nerve. Good. Just little gentle wiggles from side to side. All right, so push up onto your hands. Let's do, for the guys from this position, you're going to swap it into down dog and then go back into pigeon pose. The rest of you guys on the floor, just take a little rest if you want. The rest of you guys, you're here in down dog. You can do 4 pedal stretches just before we swap that leg over. And then you go forward, and you drop the left foot down, drop your knee to the ground, and you wiggle across. So the guys on the floor, just swap the legs into figure 4 position. Now, shins down. If your shins are parallel, that's too much. Drag that leg in. Stay up on your hands initially, and your left hip is rolling towards the ground here, and then squaring up the front of your mat. Okay, so rotate that pelvis out and across. Cramping on my back foot. If you do cramp on the back foot, just curl your toes, and it just stops that cramp. Hopefully, good. So anyone doing pigeon pose or figure 4 on the floor, you can actually put a cushion behind your head if your neck is a little bit tight. So you guys square up your hips to the front of that mat, come down to your forearms, down onto your elbows, and wiggle those hips from side to side. And just feel that outer hip opening up, and it goes right in across that sacrum, right into that low back area. So where your sciatic nerve goes down the hamstrings into your calves and your heels. So you're getting these random pains, it might be your sciatic nerve being a little bit tight. All right, so we're gonna push back into down dog. So the guys on the floor, just take a little rest. The rest of you guys, 2 feet back, lift those butts up into down dog. Pedal stretch one more time for 4, 3, 2, one, and drop to your knees. So the guys on the floor, come up and follow us into box position. We're going to do push-ups tonight because everyone loves a push-up. So we're going to do wide grip push-up. Normally I get you to do narrow ones, which are nasty as hell because it isolates the tricep. I want wide grip, and I'm going to give you the options of box position, which is again hips over your knees, hands nice and wide, which is the baby beginner version. Know how I say that. If you want it slightly harder, bring your knees back. So from your knees to your shoulders is in a straight line, almost like a ski ramp. So when you go down, it's a little bit more effort on the chest muscles. And option 3 is up under your tippy toes and then chest to the floor. Push back up. Nearly didn't make it that time. So option 3 is an option, of course, but not many people want to do it unless you're Pat, of course. So when you're ready, we're going to go down, do one push-up, one shoulder tap. So hands wider than the width of your mat. Bring your chest to the floor, push back up, and lift one hand off the ground and do a shoulder tap. So you have to work on shoulder stability, okay? So chest to the floor, push back up, shoulder tap. It's a lot harder if you're on your tippy toes. I couldn't even do one. Inhale. Exhale. The only way you get stronger with push-ups, guys, is actually doing push-ups. A few birdies there. Let's do 4 more push-ups. Nice and slow. Who's throwing stuff at you? Retreat. All the way down. Last 2. Chest starting to warm up now. Last one, guys. Get down. Push back up and just bring your hands into shoulder width apart. Now shake out your wrists while you're here because we're going to stay in this position. All right, so shake out those little arms. Now go up onto your tippy toes, up onto your tippy toes. Now we're going to do a full push-up to the ground. So this is a collapsing push-up, basically. It's a fancy word for collapsing. We're just going to gracefully touch the floor. So on your tippy toes, press your inner thighs together. Now you're going to come down, elbows in. So you're going to inhale here, exhale, collapse gracefully. So your elbows tuck in. And go all the way to the ground. That was so graceful. You took your elbows in, do a swan dive. Know our swan dive? Only go to the point where your lower back likes it. So you're just lifting up, rolling your shoulders back. Come back into child pose. So this is how you progress to the harder version of the push-ups onto your tippy toes and hands narrow. So let's go up onto the tippy toes. Let's go into plank. So you're challenging your push-up, challenging your arms tonight because we've already tired them out. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, elbows come into your rib cage and your chest comes down, hopefully before your hips. Good. Tuck the elbows in. Again, take out the pressure off that wrist joint. Swan dive up. Think about pressing your fingers to the floor because my wrists hurt when I put my pressure on my weight on my heel of my hand and not on the fingers. Child pose to release. Go all the way back. Okay, so let's do it again. We're going to do 3 more like this. So this is upper body strength. Inhale, come up into plank. Now, if you get too tired, drop to your knees. Exhale to the mat. So really concentrate and slowing down. Good. Inhale, swan. Exhale, child pose. Now press your fingers into the floor. Remember about those wrist joints. They get tired when it's just the wrist or the heel of your hands doing all the work. Inhale, plank position. 2 more. Exhale, press your fingers into the floor. Doesn't make the press up any easier. But it takes the pressure off your wrists. Inhale, swan. Think about the shoulders, roll them back. Exhale, child pose, and ding your fingers into the floor. We're going to do 1 more. We're going to go down halfway this time. This is the challenge one, not that they were a challenge. So inhale, plank position. Now exhale, come down halfway. We can do it. And then collapse gracefully all the rest of the way. Swan dive last time. Whoever's looking at it, no. And then come back, child pose. All the way back. Wiggle out those wrist joints. So keep the heads down here. Take the pressure off your wrists. We're going to do a little wrist stretch now because I know a lot of people do suffer from wrist pain. So come into box position just for a second. I'll show you how to stretch your wrist. It's technically, there's no major muscles crossing this joint. So it's actually more ligaments and tendons. That's why it's not a great stretch. It has to be done. So get the back of your hands flat to the ground like this, okay? Take your other hand. I'm using my left hand on the floor. Right hand goes on top just to stop my wrist from coming off the ground. So I want the wrist kind of in contact with the floor. Lock this left elbow out and get your shoulder directly over the wrist, okay? Most people can bear that. So what we're going to do is lean. You're going to lean to that right hand side. Don't lift the wrist up. Say that fast. Don't lift the wrist up. Keep your wrist down. So use the other hand to pin it and just stretch. It doesn't feel like a muscular stretch. It doesn't feel remotely nice. It's actually, for some people, it can be a bit painful. Just lock the elbow out when you're stretching. Because if you're bending the elbow, I'm not actually stretching that wrist joint. So lock the elbow, hold, and just breathe a few seconds. 4, 3, keep pressing that wrist to the floor. 2, 1, and shake it out. Good. So again, it's not like a muscular stretch. It's not like stretching out your hamstrings. So let's do the same thing. Right hand flat to the ground. Now the back of your wrist is on the floor. Hold the left hand on top of it, just to stop that wrist from coming up. Now, think about your shoulder. Your right shoulder is over your wrist, and then you just lean that left hand side. And it's not about getting to the floor, just lean, and then lock this elbow out. So straighten out that right elbow for me, and just lean to the left. Hold it, and just feel it. It feels tight. It doesn't feel like a muscular stretch. Up here, it's muscular. Down here, it's a lot of tendons and stuff caught in that joint. Just breathe for 3, for 2, for 1, and then release. Shake out those wrists. Good. All right, guys, grab an activation band. Now, if you don't have an activation band, make one. Get the big bands, tie them around your legs to feel those legs working tonight. All right, when you have them tied up, or if you have your activation band, correct, you're gonna have it below your knees, and this is below your knees and forward onto your fronts. And actually, every time you come down to the ground, try to do a push-up. Just so I am being very mean to you, basically. So down onto the floor, arms extended forward, and separate your feet as wide as your band allows you. Now, these are the material bands, so they're extra tough, a lot harder than our nice little stretchy bands. So down on the ground, and think about lifting your abdominals up, okay? So you're lifting your belly button off the ground, and you're squeezing from the glutes already, so activate those glutes. So it's like our swimming action, very simple. Take that right hand and left leg, now push the left leg outwards to the side, so you're activating into the glute medius at the side of your hip. And then release, change to the other side. So lift the hand, push the leg out, hold, and pull the belly button off the ground. And release, inhale, exhale, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Now again, let's try bringing our pelvic floor. So take a deep breath in, start to grip the pelvic floor, and then exhale to lift. See if your stomach pushes out onto the ground. You can still tense up, still activate your stomach and push it down. I want you to lift and activate up. So you're pulling your belly button up. So take a deep breath in, exhale, lift the stomach, lift the pelvic floor. So it gives you really good intra-abdominal pressure. Good support for that internal organs again. So exhale as you lift. Don't hold your breath, because you just switch off that pelvic floor. Do another 4. Exhale. And just grip, pull up, pull in. For 3, inhale. Exhale. And just push out, out, out with your leg to activate that outer hip. Really good stabilizing muscle. Last 2. Exhale. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Pulling in those 2 muscles. Good. Last one. Exhale. So that just isolates those outer hip. Now we're going to take it into box position. Kind of the same exercise. Keeping the bands underneath your knees. So you're in box position, but we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to take that knee away from midline. So take the right hand forward and just lift that left knee off the ground. So you're working right into your piriformis, right into the outer hip. Make sure your heel and your knee line up, so you're not pulling the heel out, you're not pulling that heel in. So heel and knee line up as you lift and hold for 4 seconds, and then you change the other side. So take a deep breath in, exhale, lift the hand and just hover that knee, push it out, line up the heel and the knee, just glance back to make sure you're correct, and then you change. Inhale, exhale, tighten from your stomach. See if you can concentrate enough to grip the pelvic floor. Check your balance. You might wobble more on one side doing this exercise. Exhale, lift, and just push that knee out. Hold. Inhale to the mat. Exhale. And then your stomach. Think about flattening your back. So you're balancing your pints on your lower back. And let's do 4 more. As I say, it's a typical Irish Pilates class. Reference to drink all the way through. Last 3. Exhale. Push that knee out, press that ankle out, and lift the hand. Don't forget about the shoulders. Last one more time. Inhale. Exhale. And lift. Good. and release back down. Sit back, child pose, butts to heels. Reach those arms forward, heads down, and just kind of wiggle your butts from side to side. Just release the tension across those lower back areas. Good. Now we're going to twist to open tonight. So take those bands off your legs, nice and gentle. Chuck them to the side. We're going to do our rotation stretch just for the torso, for the upper back, because this is the area I'm getting caught in. I have to get it to release. So box position again. Take your right hand, tread the needle, slide it underneath the left, get your shoulder and your head to touch the ground and stay here. The arm that's in front of your face, which is my left arm, I'm going to wrap that around my lower back and see if I can hook it in. I can on this side. I can hook it into the inner thigh on that right leg. It's not going to happen for most people. You can just grip your trousers, t-shirt, whatever you can. But just focus on your rotation. See if you can roll your shoulder out of the way. Can you look up towards that ceiling? Is your rotation here in your spine okay? Are you caught anywhere along your back? Shoulders, neck, rib cage. Is your shoulder in the way? Is your shoulder so tight that it's rolled forward? Can you breathe? In through the nose, out to the mouth. Do 2 more. Big breaths in. Try to get your spine to relax. 1 more time. And then exhale, come back into center, back into box position. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, left on the right. Get your shoulder down to the ground. Turn your head. Take the hand that's on the floor. It's the right arm this time. Wrap it around the lower back. I can just about get the hand into the inner thigh. Check along your spine. Where's it caught? I'm definitely caught across that low back and the SI joint area. So just check along your back. Where is it tight? And just because something's tight doesn't mean you don't stretch it. You need to just gently stretch something. That's it. Breathe in through the nose. Out to the mouth. Check if your shoulder's blocking your line of vision. Roll that shoulder blade back. 2 more big breaths in. Exhale. 1 more big breath in. And exhale, unravel back out of that position. Good. So you're in box position. Now we're just going to do it we're not doing it in a different way. We're going to do it slightly harder way. I'm going to get you to go back into down dog again. So lift those hips, lift those butts, and press your heels towards the floor. Now this is a very fancy stretch. Take your left leg and lift it up towards the ceiling. Lift that butt up as high as you can. Now for some people that's enough. You can just do that stretch and drop it back down. What I want you to try to do is bring your left heel to your butt, so bend your left knee, and then just twist. Rotate that left leg, hang it over towards the right hand side of your mat. Don't do it if it feels too impossible, but just let it hang if possible. And you're lifting as high as you can. So imagine you got someone on your left hand side, you're trying to rotate your belly button towards them to show them your belly button. Just breathe into that little stretch. And then bring it back to center. It's just a very fancy stretch. Now again, think about your hands, press your fingers to the floor, your back into your down dog. If that's too much now, remember, just drop to the floor and take a little rest on this one. So let's take the right foot. And you're going to lift that right leg up as high as you can. You're going to bend your heel to your butt. And you're going to twist that right leg, hang it out on the left-hand side of your mat. Just let it open and feel the tight areas. I can feel that down the side of my waist, down to the ribs, not even into the spine or the hip, just the side of the waist. Breathe in through the nose, out to that mouth. And then slowly bring that foot back down to the floor. Drop onto your knees, guys. Back into child pose 1 more time. Just wiggle out those wrists. Nice and gentle. So take the pressure off those wrist joints. So we're going to stretch the front of your quads tonight, and you're going to need a chair, couch. I use the body ball because it's mobile, but it's just for the front of the thighs to take the pressure off those lower back. So grab something, and you're going to grab my ball over here, ball, chair, whatever it is. You're going to need a cushion, if possible, just underneath your knees. And if you don't have a cushion, just deflate your gurney ball if you have that. I'm going to use my little material band. There's nothing here tonight. All right, so put the blanket, cushion, pillow as close to the bottom of the thing that you're using, whether it's the couch, even if it's the wall. You can use the wall as well. I should have probably, hindsight, used the wall. You're going to put your knee onto the cushion and your foot onto the thing that you're using to stretch, just like that. Okay, and then you come down to the floor just to take the pressure off the quads. So I have my left leg, just for mirror image, I have my left foot onto something, anything. Good. Now, the right leg is going to be lifted forward into this little stretch. Now, that for some people is enough. Even if your foot is wedged up against the wall, you might feel the front of those quads stretching, and that could be enough for some people. Good. Get that knee down to the floor, Iris. You're just taking the scenic route to get there, is it? So knee on the ground, foot on top of the wall. That's it. Now, what you can do, again, if you're okay with that stretch, stay here. But if you want, put your hand in front of that knee and sit tall. This is one of the best stretches for lower back pain. Not just stretching out the quad, but it's a lower back stretch, okay? Because when your quads get super tight, they cross the hip here and it pulls the pelvis forward and it puts all the pressure in the disc in the lower back. So think about stretching. Now again, think about also squeezing your butt, pushing your hip forward so you feel the front of that thigh and hip flexor stretching out. Now, if that's a good one, Iris, you have it. That's it. If it's too much back here, just come forward or go to the floor. It's completely up to yourselves. But the more upright you get, the tougher that stretch is. Just feel that lovely burning sensation. I'm going to turn off at an angle so you can see the front of the quads here just a little bit better. Yeah. So that there. So the closer your butt is towards your heel, the deeper that stretch. And I can do it like this, my butt sticking out, and I'm actually switching off the rectus femoris. You gotta actually lean back and think about pushing the pelvis forward. It's a really, really deep stretch. Nasty as hell for most people, but you have to progress from here to get into here, slowly to here, and then backwards, okay? Feel that burning sensation, keep it. Just breathe for a few seconds. Good. This is really good. Anyone that's suffering from problems with the knees, problems with the hips, problems with the lower back, this is the stretching phase. The release is foam rollers and stuff like that. That's the ones we've done before. Let's just spend a few more seconds hanging out here. You're all right, Pat. Typical man, you know. Slowly come down. Let's change that leg. Oh my God, it's burning. When you bring it down, don't snap it to the ground. Get that cushion underneath the kneecap. Other leg. Let's check how bad the other leg is. So this is, I can clean my left leg, but in mirror image, this is my right leg. Same thing, I'm bringing the other foot forward just so I can get up onto it. That's all it is. This might be enough for you. Just stay in this position. That's perfect. Gently bring it up if you're comfortable. So get that knee to the floor, if that's possible. And you can still do it kind of leaning forward. That's no problem. So knee to the ground. Yes. Bring it as down as close. Yes, that's it. So you're coming up, and again, if your butt is sticking out, so you bring your butt to the heel, that's not stretching the four of the main quads. You gotta think about pushing your pelvis forward. I'm gonna drag this leg in for balance. So push the pelvis forward to open up that hip flexor, and just think about, you know, doing a pelvic thrust. Push the pelvis forward, hold till you feel that deep burning sensation on your quads. Take a little rest if you have to. I'm gonna fall looking around. Hold that stretch. Breathe. If you want to sink forward, but again, this is the hardest version, going backwards. Don't think you have to go straight back here, because you can tear a muscle just as quick. So just hold and breathe. That's it. That lovely burning sensation. Can you squeeze your butt in this position? Yeah, I can kind of activate the glutes. It's very hard to do, so about 10 more seconds. Do use more hand. You'll be walking super tall at the end of this. Slowly burning now. All right, slowly come down to the floor. Nice and gentle. Drop both legs down. You can just push the ball to the side if you're using the ball. Push whatever you're using off to the edge. Sit back, just let the hips shorten. Sit back to child pose initially and just let it stretch out. Chest to the floor, arms forward, releasing all that lower back, and you're wiggling those butts from side to side. Good. Now we're going to release the internal rotators of your hips, or some of the, well, actually external rotators, by internally rotating your legs. All right, so let's come down to the floor. You're only going to need one spiky for this one. So again, this is all to do with hip health, lower back health. We're going to place the spiky. I'm going to put it under my right butt, right bum cheek, down as low as you can, because you want to get the back of the hip head, the actual joint back in there. All right, so bring in that, it's underneath my left bum cheek, so I'm taking my left foot in, and I'm bringing the left foot out to the outside part of the mat, and I'm rolling that knee into midline. So it's actually stretching my external rotators outwards. So it's going right in there to the bottom of the glute. I'm rotating that knee inwards, and I want you to push and feel around in that position. See if it's sore. Most people aren't sore. So it's in against, say, the coccyx bone right there at the back of the glutes, right in against the sacrum, and you're drawing little circles down around the butt there to see if there's anywhere that's tender and sore. So we're basically stretching the external rotator. And I think it's the quadratus femoris in this one. And it's sore. If it's sore, it means that it's tight, it's not functioning properly. You're just wiggling that butt around to see if there's anything sore. So keep it in that rotation, keep that knee rolled in, and you can scoot down a little bit, up a little bit. Just roll that spiky in along the coccyx bone, in along your sacrum, up towards the top of your pelvis, and see if there's a sore area anywhere like that. So we're into an internal rotation with the leg, and we're trying to find muscles connected in along the edge of the sacrum there. I actually found one. I can't believe I found one. So when you find one, don't levitate, don't lift your butt up. Keep pressing your muscles down into that spiky. Just keep holding the pressure. You don't even have to move, just holding down on top of that little spiky ball. And then when it starts to relax or soften or kind of open up those external rotators, you should be able to sink that knee further down without rolling the hips. Just keep pressing into it. Do the other side now. So take the spiky, I'm gonna put it underneath the right bum cheek. Now it's bottom of the bum cheek, that's what you're aiming for. You can see it right in there underneath the glutes. Now take the right foot, roll it out to the edge of the mat, and just bring that knee inwards, okay? So straight away, I can't even get in contact with it. And this is where yoga blocks, you can actually push it right up into the internal or external rotators. So same thing, it's in against, say, the coccyx bone, the lowest point of your tailbone, and you're controlling the pressure up. Found a trigger point. Try push down. It's kind of hard. You're going to try to push your butt down because I know most people's internal rotators can be caught. You're trying to push your butt in towards that spiky, and again, move it up and down if you have to find a trigger point. I have found my favorite one, and I'm just going to sit here on top of it and just push into that spiky. Find your sore area. And this is, again, it all has to do with hip health and lower back pain. So move the spiky up and down. You're just running along the sacrum, which is the bone, the pizza bone slice of a bone at the back of your pelvis. And you can move it with your hand or scoot down along that spiky. Find your trigger point. I am so surprised how bad this actually is. So when you find the sore spot, push and hold. Just press in, press in, press in. Good. And then slowly release, bring your feet back in, get the two spikies and just work in the opposite muscle groups. Go to the very edge of your hips here, the widest part of your hips. Tuck the spikies into the edge there of your butt. Take the legs to tabletop and separate those knees out. Rotate from 45 degrees to 45 degrees. So you're getting right in a slightly different muscle group in here at the back of the hips, just the way the muscles wrap around those hips. Good. Find those trigger points, find those sore areas. Now, really go over at an angle. So when you hit more of a 45 degrees or more towards the ground, you get right into those outer hips, right into those, more superficial external rotators. Find them. You got to release them. You got to take the pressure out of them so they work properly. Now, while you're wiggling from side to side, grab your spiky, bring it up an inch toward the top of your pelvis. Keep going from 45 degrees to 45 degrees. And you're going to hit, or hopefully hit, the glute medius, which is very top of your hip, top of your leggings, top of your shorts, but not into that lower back, not into your waist. Still on the edge of your pelvis. It's kind of the love handle area. So if you weren't sure where your love handles were before, this is where they kind of are. Find out which side is sore. Is the right sore? Is the left sore? And then bring the spikies into your lower back. So drop your feet, lift the spikies, roll the way up into the arch of your back. Find your trigger point area. So you can have feet down or feet up, and you can rock from side to side to find that sore area. Now, if it's sore, feet go back onto the floor, and you're just wiggling your butts from side to side, trying to find those trigger points. So mine are right here, just in there against that QL, right in that little sore spot. Now, the next point I want you to work on is just a little bit higher. It's going to be back of the kidney area. So all you have to do is you sit up like this, you bring your spikies up, say back of the kidneys, lower end of your rib cage. Two spikies go in there, but you're going to sit back onto them. So I'm holding them with the hands, and I'm going to sit back, and I'm going to just push in against the spikies like that. Now you can bounce, or you can rock from side to side if you have enough balance. as just massaging, as I said, the back of the kidney area. It's very sensitive. It's part of the rotators of your spine, the muscles that kind of help twist the spine. So you gotta lean into those trigger points, lean into that sore spot. Now, if you put one hand on the floor, hold onto your two knees and lean at a 45-degree angle into that spiky, you're gonna feel that sensitive tissue there. Just push into it as best you can. And do the same to the other side. Just lean across with that hand and just push into that spike. Just feel how sore that area is. And then bring it back into center. Now, let's take those spikies up between your shoulder blades into the rhomboids. But if you want to keep working that area, stay in that area. So 2 spikies in there. Heads on the ground. If it's sore, heads go down. But if you're okay, keep the hands behind your head so you can feel the spikies getting right in between those shoulder blades. Lift the butts, lift the bits and the shoulders and roll up and down. Now that is quite a sensitive area for some people. If that's too sore, drop your heads onto the floor, wrap the arms across your chest so your shoulder blades are still shifted apart and just wiggle from side to side. Find those trigger points, find those sore areas. Because again, you cannot stretch that out. You can't just go up here and stretch the back of your shoulders and think you're gonna be fine. You're gonna have nasty little trigger points still in those areas. Good, so find them and press it. Now, take one spiky out. Keep it where you have it, just in between your shoulder blades. I'm going to take out one spiky, okay? So you're going to have it in there, just in against the shoulder blade, in between the shoulder blade and the spine. Heads go down on the floor. And the arm, I'm going to lift this arm up towards the ceiling. The arm that's on the spiky, you're lifting up. If you want a shoulder bridge up, lift the hips. If not, just stay on the floor and just draw circles. Very slow circle. See how much more deeper that is. And now cross the midline with that arm because you're really opening up your trapezius muscle and right into those rhomboids. Now you'll get to certain angles of the circle that it catches the most. And I want you to focus on that area. Maybe think about twisting your arm or practice throwing a tennis ball, that kind of action, to see if it flares up or fires up that muscle or that trigger point. And you want to find it, hold it, do maybe small movements, or just sit there on top of it, that's fine. And just breathe, try to get a muscle to respond. You're trying to elicit a response out of that muscle. So say if you've got a pain level of 1 to 10 and it's at 7, stay there and hold it till it goes down to a 6, a 5, a 4. You just want to get it down a little bit so the muscle's starting to respond to it. It won't fix it, but it's going to help reduce the pain in the muscle. Let's do the same to the other side. So I'm going to put it in against the shoulder blade, in between the shoulder blade and the spine. Heads down, hips up. Now if it's too sore, hips up, drop your hips. Arm goes up and you're drawing circles. You're really crossing that midline, trying to open up the muscles beneath the scapula. It's kind of hard to get in along that area. Now you can reverse the circles because I know when I go in this direction, I can't feel the trigger points, but when I reverse the circles there, that's where it's catching the most. So same thing, when you find a trigger point, move your arm in small movements, maybe practice throwing a tennis ball, see if that catches it, and just push into it. Just lean into that trigger point is enough for myself. I feel so sore. Now again, elicit a response, go from 7, 6, 5 or 10 down to a 6 if possible, just holding it. And then slowly drop back down to that mat, take the spiky, bring it up to the upper trapezius, so you're shrugging muscle, tops of your shoulders, and lie back down, heads to the ground. Take your arms up towards the ceiling, shoulder bridge up so you're pinning down on top of that little muscle. Rock those arms from side to side. Feel the tension in the left hand side compared to the right, and it should be a little bit less because we went so deep on the mid rhomboids, kind of mid trapezius area. Take those arms back, inhale, arms go back to squish that upper trapezius muscle. Exhale, reach the fingertips towards your thighs, you're moving your scapula. Inhale, arms go back, exhale, reach. Feel that tension trying to release out of the shoulders. Do one more for me. Inhale, arms go back. Exhale, sink your spine to the floor, drop those hips, drop those arms, and just kind of shrug your shoulders to your ears. Release that tension, that pressure. Now let's push the 2 spikies up to your neck. So 2 spikies together in at the back of those necks. And you can drop the legs down, drop the heads, and just wiggle your heads from side to side. I prefer to use 1 spiky in at the back of the neck. So just wiggle from left to right, releasing all that pressure, all that tension out of that little neck muscle, which is still part of the trapezius muscle group. It's still part of your shoulders. Nod your heads up and down. Check which side of your neck is tight. Today my left side is tight, so I'm going to roll my head up and down on the left side. With your head, draw circles out and around, releasing that pressure and tension. Reverse those circles. Now roll a single spiky, so 1 spiky into the base of your skull, just a little bit higher. Wiggle your head from side to side, so roll your head completely to the right, completely to the left. Nod your heads up and down, check if there's a tight side. And with your head, draw circles out and around. Reverse those circles. Now let's take the 2 spikies out, drop your heads to the floor and draw circles over the sides and top of your head, releasing that pressure. Go down onto your temples, draw circles. Down onto your cheekbones, relax your facial muscles, bringing it down across your jaw, across your chin, under your neck, and right down onto your chest. So roll the spikies across your chest and your shoulders. And then slowly bring your spikies up through the neck muscles again, front to back across your neck, up into your jaw, across your cheekbones, over your temples, release that pressure, over your forehead, and then circle to the top and sides of your head. Now let's take the spikies in your hands, bring your hands down by your sides, tense up every muscle in your body, squeeze and grip on those spikies, hold a deep breath in, and as you exhale, relax your feet, legs, hips, shoulders, arms, and release the grip on your